The meeting will please come to order. Hello, everyone. My name is Trippi Congo, President of Wilmington City Council. Today is Thursday, September the 15th, and on behalf of all of my colleagues, I would like to thank everyone who has joined us in council chambers, as well as everyone who is on virtually. At this time, we will have our opening prayer from Akira Granardo.
Heavenly Father, we have assembled to handle the affairs of our city. As we do so, we ask for your guidance and understanding. We pray that our city reaches a place of peace and safety. Keep us out of harm's way and bless those who are in authority. Let respect be key in all our endeavors. Amen.
Amen. At this time, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Present.
Councilwoman Darby,
Present.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Present.
Councilwoman Harley,
Present.
Councilwoman Fields, Councilwoman McCoy,
Here.
Councilman Johnson,
Here.
Councilman Nathan Field,
Present.
Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilman Mills,
Present.
Councilman Spadola,
Present.
Councilwoman Walsh, President Congo.
Here.
11 present and 2 absent.
Thank you. Also, for public comment, there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for anyone who is virtual. Public comment will take place after non-legislative business. If there is anyone in council chambers that has not had a chance to sign up for public comment, please let us know, and we will bring the sheet to you so you can sign up. This time, we'll have the reading of the minutes from the previous meeting.
September 1st, 2022, City Council met in regular session with remote participation on the above date at 6:30 p.m. President Ernest M. Congo II presiding. The opening prayer was done by Akira Granardo, Deputy City Clerk.
Mr. President, I move the minutes be accepted as written. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the minutes be accepted as written. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. This time we'll have our committee reports.
September 6, 2022, President, members of Council, City of Wilmington, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met with anchor location and remote participation, to whom was referred ordinance number 22038 entitled, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to clarify the funding of and appropriations from the Budget Reserve Account, the Tax Stabilization Reserve, the Water Sewer Fund Operation and Maintenance Reserve, and the Water Sewer Fund Rate Stabilization Reserve. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilwoman Harley, Councilman Nathan Field, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilman Spadola, President Congo, absent with leave, Councilwoman Walsh.
At this time, I move for the committee report to be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. This time we'll have our city treasurer's report.
September 15, 2022. Total investment, $496,075,159.99. Total cash on hand, $12,481,212.58. Grand total, $508,556,372.57. Submitted by Dwayne Sims, City Treasurer.
Mr. President, I move the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'll accept the motion to move to accept all non-legislative business.
I move to accept all non-legislative business. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to accept all non-legislative business. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Are there any council members with presentations this evening? Councilman Spadola?
Greer, can you join me, please? Good evening, everybody. I'm very happy to be honoring Greer Firestone of Heart in the Game tonight. He's going to go into the mission and all the work they've done in Delaware, so I'm going to avoid reading most of these whereas clause, but I just want to hit the high notes and what really stuck out to me here. So their mission is to make Delaware the heart healthiest state in the nation and aspire to screen every student in the state for potential heart defects. And there's a personal reason for that, as you'll hear about. Since they were formed, they've performed over 3,500 heart screenings, trained over 8,000 people in CPR and the AED machine, and alerted at least 80 individuals to potentially life-threatening heart abnormalities. So with that, Greer Firestone.
Thanks so much, James, for the recognition. 3,500 kids screened over 8 years. 2% of them had heart abnormalities with no family history. 4 of them had major procedures at Nemours because of what Heart in the Game does. In 2011, my daughter suffered sudden cardiac arrest. She was a stud athlete at her high school, the only athlete, boy or girl, who graduated with 15 varsity letters, no family history. 2011, she suffered sudden cardiac arrest. She was paddled 8 times that night. She's on the way to the hospital. She actually stopped breathing, but she survived. And I'm going, whoa, SCA, sudden cardiac arrest, is different from a heart attack. If you don't have CPR or AED within 15 minutes, you are dead or cognitively not the same. So therefore, we got Jack Markell, we got Bethany Hallong, we got Senator Cloutier involved to create the Grace Firestone Act for sudden cardiac arrest in 2014. Fine. Then I founded Heart in the Game to give free EKG screenings to all Delaware students. And that's what we've done. We've been to Howard, we've been to Bayard, we've been to 32 other in-school events to do EKG screenings and to train in CPR. EKG will save one life. The ability to know CPR and AED, you could be a hero. Everybody here could be a hero if they know CPR, AED. So what we're doing now, we created Heart in the Game. We now have a deal with Newcastle County VOTEC to make mandatory all their student athletes to have EKGs and to train in CPR. This will be a model for the state. This is a statewide mission. We intend to make Delaware the heart healthiest educated state. The Grace Firestone Act for sudden cardiac arrest in 2014 was a namby-pamby, kumbaya, budget neutral, feel good bill. We're going to put teeth in this, and we're going to make it the heart healthiest state in the nation. Athletes have 2 to 3 times the incidence of sudden cardiac arrest. 7,000 athletes, or student athletes, die every year with sudden cardiac arrest. It's a national emergency. What we're going to do is go to the underserved communities initially. We're going to go to the 4 NCCVT schools and make that a model for the nation. But additionally, we have feelers out for Kingswood Community Center, for the Teen Warehouse. We're going to be doing that because serving the underserved is really part of our mission as well. By the way, we are looking for sponsors for those events. So I thank James very much for these 3 minutes, if I pass that possibly or so. But we know what we have to do. I'm a Delaware native. My daughter suffered sudden cardiac arrest. She's a survivor. But many of the kids who had sudden cardiac arrest were not survivors. So I want to make a change. Thank you.
I would like to also recognize Councilwoman Maria Cabrera. Please mark her present.
So noted.
I just want to thank James for allowing me to say a few words as well, because Greer, when he started this mission early on, when this first happened, it was years ago. He's reached out throughout the years so that we can bring attention to this issue, and we know that we have suffered tragedies right here in the city because of this. So just want to thank you for the work that you're doing, and we certainly want to bring awareness to this. And I love your mission, and I'm just happy to say that I was there when this started. Thank you so much.
And Councilwoman Cabrera, did you have any recognitions this evening?
Yes, I do. Let's run here and get right to work. So first, I would like to recognize National Suicide Prevention Action Month, and would like the recipients to come up as we, this is a national event, and we found the local recipients here to be recognized. Are you here?
Namdi. Oh, Nami. Yes.
Yes, please come on up. Thank you. And today, receiving this. Come on up high. This is Van. We had the Van Shea Sedita. Thank you so much. Come on by. I'm going to read the resolution, as this is very important, and we were reached out on a national level so that Wilmington can come on board. So we wanted to connect with the local partner to make sure that this resolution was given and brought attention to mental health awareness. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and are deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Wrong folder. Sorry about that.
I would also like to recognize County Councilman Jay Street, who was with us this evening.
Okay, here we are. Okay, oops. All right, our sponsors are Council members Xanthia Oliver and Maria Cabrera. Councilman Oliver, would you like to come and help me read the resolution? And today receiving, as I said, is NAMI Delaware, who's our local connect here, and we thank you for the work that you're doing. So I'm going to start, and then I'll have you continue. Whereas September is known globally as Suicide Prevention Month, the National Suicide Prevention and Action Month proclamation was created to raise the visibility of our community's mental health resources and suicide prevention services. The goal is to start the conversation about mental health and the impact of suicide to help destigmatize the conversation and help connect people with the appropriate support services. Whereas, according to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, AFSP, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death among adults and the second leading cause of death among individuals between the age of 10 and 34 in the United States. And whereas more than 48,000 people die by suicide across the United States each year, with an average of 132 suicides completed daily. Each suicide directly impacts a minimum of 100 additional people, including family, friends, co-workers, neighbors, and community members. And whereas among the Newcastle County residents, 19% have depression, 20% of adults binge drink, 14% smoke, and 10% abuse pills. All are high risk factors for suicide. Within the state suicide rate, it's 15 per 100,000 residents, higher than the national average, and 12% of the Newcastle County youth have previously reported making a suicide plan.
Okay, now there be it resolved by the City Council of Wilmington. The council is pleased to support efforts and raise awareness of suicide rates, recognizing the severity of these issues by recognizing this month of September as Suicide Prevention Month. And I was glad to also co-sponsor this because I know myself, two families that we grew up with, and the kids was playing the choking game and committed suicide. And one guy was in college and committed suicide by alcoholism. So this is very dear and close to my heart. So thank you, Mr. Van, for coming.
Good evening, and thank you for the invitation to join you and recognize National Suicide Prevention Month. NAMI Delaware is grateful to have the opportunity to shine light on such a taboo subject. NAMI Delaware was founded nearly 40 years ago by parents and community members struggling to navigate the mental health system for their loved ones. While progress has been made over the years to address some of the initial concerns raised by our founders, in many ways, our work today is much like that work that began in 1983. Our team of staff and volunteers continue to serve Delawareans impacted by the challenges of mental illness. This includes those diagnosed and those who love and care for them. The NAMI Delaware mission is to support, educate, and advocate until there is a cure for serious and persistent mental illness. To serve our mission, we offer safe, affordable housing for about 300 individuals living with serious mental illness, with 76 homes located across Delaware. We provide a non-crisis helpline to connect callers to resources and referrals for clinical and community services. We advocate for policy and system changes that will improve lives of Delawareans impacted by mental illness. We provide support and education programs for individuals with mental illness and their loved ones, and seek to serve underrepresented communities with unique programming delivered by leaders from their communities. We deliver certificate trainings like mental health first aid and QPR, question, persuade, and refer, an evidence-based suicide prevention program. And we join together with community leaders like you to raise awareness about critical issues like suicide prevention. So many myths surrounding the issues of suicide and the stigma of it prevent many from learning the facts. For example, talking about suicide with someone you are concerned about will not give them the idea. In fact, research shows it will drastically reduce their risk just by asking. This one of many myths we were to dispel in our trainings and outreach at NAMI Delaware. And we heard some stats before. Councilmember Cabrera pointed that out. Thank you very much. Some additional stats, and I truly hope they don't conflict. As we know, numbers can always be somewhat typoed at some points. More than half of people, though, with a mental health condition in the U.S. did not receive any treatment last year. Also, on average, one person in the U.S. dies by suicide about every 11 minutes. Delawareans in particular struggle to get the help they need. Of the 47,000 adults in Delaware who did not receive needed mental health care, 38.6 did not get that care because of cost. 6.6% of people in the state are uninsured. Delawareans are over 3 times more likely to be forced out of network for mental health care than for primary health care, making it more difficult to find care and less affordable due to higher out-of-pocket costs. 88,697 people in Delaware live in a community that does not have enough mental health professionals. In Delaware, 113 lives were lost to suicide, and 38,000 adults had thoughts of suicide in just the last year. Stats that really sink home with me: I've lost at least 2 friends to suicide, seen addiction and the toils that it can take on family and loss of about 8 to 10 more friends in the past 15 years of my life. So these are things that definitely hit home with me as well. I think it's coming at the end here, but my name is Vance Adida. I'm a board member of NAMI Delaware, and it's been a pleasure to be up here tonight. We look forward to our continued partnership together. Thank you so much.
And I too want to mention a very near and dear friend of mine drove over that bridge at least 10 times before they found the tickets in his car before he jumped right off the Delaware Memorial Bridge. So certainly a very important issue. And sometimes it's not an issue that we see on the person, and we really have to dig a little deep and try to take the stigmatism away and provide those services. So thank you for being here, and I'm glad that we were able to sponsor the resolution. Now, the next recognition is for Laura Leos. If she could come forward, and anyone that you would like to join you. Today's September 15th, and it is the kickoff when we recognize Hispanic Heritage Month across the nation. From September to October 15th, we celebrate the history, the cultures, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central and South America. The observation started in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon Johnson and was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 to cover a 30-day period starting on September 15th and ending October 15th. The day of September 15th is significant because it is the anniversary of independence for Latin American countries of Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. In addition, Mexico and Chile celebrate their Independence Days on September 16th and 18th, respectively. This month highlights the beauty and diversity of the Hispanic community, and it is an opportunity to appreciate the many ways that those of Hispanic heritage have shaped society, both locally and globally. So we thank Laura for being here. She's one of many of the Hispanic leaders that we have in our community, and one of the things that I will say about Laura as I met her, and I'm not sure exactly how she started out. All I know is I kept hearing Ventas Latinas, Ventas Latinas. What does that mean? It's like the marketplace on Facebook. It's sales. It's a way of connecting people who want to sell their items. But Ventas Latinas just became more than a site where you go to purchase things. It became a way of getting information out to the Hispanic community. And where this was the most powerful was during COVID, where Laura started putting out the information and connecting people to the vaccinations, to the clinics, and what they needed to do and how to access PPE. She was recognized by the News Journal, and they did a wonderful article on her, on one of the people who are shaping and changing the look of Delaware. And I am so thankful to have someone like Laura Leos. And with us is also my good friend here, Jonathan Galindo, who works with her, and he too will be getting his recognition in the near future. And we just want to thank them and officially recognize the efforts as we kick off Hispanic Heritage Month today. And we also invite you to a celebration tomorrow right here outside the City County building, where we're going to raise the Mexican flag, and we hope that you will join us around 5:30 p.m. So I would read the resolution. Where it is the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and are deserving of recognition and acknowledgement, Laura Leos is one such individual. And whereas Ms. Leos has used her social media platforms to inform and advocate for Spanish-speaking Delawareans, as an administrator for the Facebook group Ventas Latinas Delaware, she has attracted more than 60,000 followers and worked towards greater inclusiveness on behalf of members of the local Latino community. Whereas her popularity began with the 2011 Facebook page to support her small business, Pastelos Leos, her cakes became increasingly well known, and Ms. Leo's reputation for reliable advice also grew. Over the years, the trust she has built has become an invaluable resource for Delaware's Latino community. And whereas whether it's a baby shower, assistance with funeral costs, or showering dynamic small businesses, Ms. Leos has been the center of helping Delawareans when they need it the most. At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, she engaged with health officials to ensure that Spanish speakers had access to critical health information and mobilized the community to get tested and vaccinated. Whereas Laura Leos was born in Chihuahua, Mexico, we recognize and celebrate her for the way that she has embraced her cultural heritage, as well as the many ways that she has elevated local voices and helped raise awareness about issues facing our Latino community. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that this council wishes to honor Ms. Laura Leos and Ventas Latina Delaware during the 2022 Hispanic Heritage Month celebration. Congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you so much for choosing me for represent my community in this month of the Hispanic Heritage. I would like to dedicate this resolution to the hardworking Latino community. This wonderful community is the cornerstone of Ventas Latina. As I look back on my life, a core memory of my childhood are the storms in Chihuahua, Mexico. The rain will be pouring and water will rapid approach all the houses. There was so much water that cars will move and roofs were even flying off. I remember the calm after the storm, where neighbors will run outside to make sure everyone was safe, where everyone will help clean the neighborhood and answer questions like, have you seen my car? I can laugh about this now, but I must confess during those storms, I was scared. During my childhood, my family showed me the importance of caring, and my culture showed me the importance of helping my neighbors. Most important of helping my community. I began in 2012 selling cakes, and because my clients was so big, I knew everyone in our community. Everyone asked me where they can get a service done. I will know at least 3 people who did that. I will recommend them and make sure they got the help or service they need. I got so many questions that I decided to put all of my friends, family, and clients on my page called Ventas Latina. Ventas Latina has been a blessing in my life and blessing too many Latinos in Delaware. Many people who don't speak the language, like me, I'm trying my best, are able to get the help they need. In America, Latinos are often thought of as second-class citizens. Our voice is often not heard. This leads far inside of me. I want to help as many people as possible. Through support ACLU and the LACC, I have been able to give resource to my community. I credit all my success to my culture, to my roots. I am who I am because of the values instilled in me as a young child by my parents and my grandmother. I truly feel like I am living the American dream. And I want to thank God, for all the opportunities He has given me. I want to thank my husband and my kids for understanding the responsibility to my community and for helping me manage all the craziness. They are a big part of the reason why I am here, and I continue to work so hard. And thank you. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Galindo. I've been in Laura Leo's friend for a while. I seen her from become such a successful person during the past years. Tremendous help because all the problems that you guys talking here through mental health, any kind of problems through health, education, actually the entire Latino community is in need of that. Think about it. How many people out there they cannot speak the language? There's no one representing them. Through Laura, she is able to connect that information to the masses, through her pages, to her Facebook, to her friends. So for the first time ever, I seen that we can accomplish something if we help Laura in the future to pass the message through the problem with mental problems, as you guys were speaking. There's a huge community in Latinos with those issues, but no one is out there representing us. So her job is so huge. She's been trying to do her best, but we all need to help her out in order to she can help the entire Latino community, the ones that are not bilingual. And that's why I admire her, and I'm trying to support her. And I tell everyone, let's work together, empower her, because she's the only one out there that can do that for the entire Latino community, which is over 10% of the Latino population in the state of Delaware, right? And that's it. So congratulations, Laura. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. I would also like to recognize a resolution from Councilwoman Linda Gray, recognizing Philip Anderson for being inducted into the Delaware State University Hall of Fame. At this time, we will move to public comment. We do have 2 people who have signed up who are in council chambers. And WITM, please let us know if anyone has signed up virtually. First, we have Deacon Earl Tate.
Good evening. My name is Deacon Earl E. Tate II, and I'm here to say congratulations for setting up around the city the curb cut. The curb cut is very important, but there's something that's even more important than that. Over on this side of the territory, as I say, the streets are paved and nice, but over my side of the territory and all around, the streets haven't been fixed for years. It's time to stop, slow down, and take care of your own city, of your own streets, and everything. Smooth, make your city something that you could be proud of, and the only way to do that is by stop and taking what has to be done and do it now. And also you talk about building up houses and everything. There's many houses, vacant houses all over the city. Whatever happened to that dollar program where they could buy the house for $1 and fix it up and then move in it and live in it for 5 years and have that to call their home. If you wanna make the income increase in the city, we got to first take care of the vacant houses outside of building up the new houses. But we got to do it, and we got to do it now, because if we don't, we won't have nothing to look up to.
Thank you, Deacon Tate. Also, we have County Councilman Jay Street.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. I'm gonna be brief. I had come tonight to support the renaming of the triangle in honor and recognition of Mrs. B. Dunn. And I'm not complaining, but we got mixed up on the date and we're anticipating that tonight, but I wanted to get on the record. Members of the family and friends are here. My unequivocal support for that name change. And that has to do with me personally, because in the beginning of my public service career, when I didn't know what I was doing, wasn't sure of myself, and caught the kind of havoc we all catch in the community, it was B. Dunn who stepped up and said, give him a chance. And had that not happened, I probably would have quit, and instead of 47 years and 8 months of public service, I'd have probably been done right then. B. Dunn, once upon a time, was called the mayor of Riverside because of all the activities and the things that she did. When I was parks director, she was playground director at Kingswood. Kingswood playground was open. We served lunches by law, but somehow or another, she found a way to serve dinner. And that was one of the few playgrounds I didn't have to worry about. Her contribution to children is outstanding. She was a founding member of the National Coalition of Title I ESEA Parents, working with Hicks Anderson. And that became the Wilmington Title I Parent Advisory Council, became one of the strongest PACs in the nation as a result of that leadership and training. She taught our kids both at Harlan and Burnett. And in my opinion, the recognition to be done is very, very much deserved. I thanked her family, and I want to thank them again publicly for sharing their mom with the rest of us, the greater community. And I surely want to thank Councilwoman Darby for being the sponsor. I want to thank the planning department for their participation in their work. And I want to thank I guess it was the Land Use Committee for your unanimous support of the renaming. And if I don't make it back on October 6th, at least I'm on the record. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we don't have anyone who has signed up for public comment virtually. So at this time, we will move to legislative business. Councilmember Gray.
Nothing this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Darby.
Yes, I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading. You hear me?
Yes. Ordinance 22039, Revision 1, Agenda 0214, an ordinance to amend Chapter 8 of the City Code to protect the exploited construction workforce, promote local hire of Wilmington residents, and increase skilled labor in residential and commercial construction projects.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 8 of the City Code to protect the exploited construction workforce, promote local hire of Wilmington residents, and increase skilled labor in residential and commercial construction projects.
Mr. President,
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer it to the Public Works and Transportation Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Public Works and Transportation Committee.
Mr. President, I am going to hold my next two legislations, number 0221 and number 0222.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, Mr. President, I'm going to be reading legislation for Councilwoman Walsh, which would be on the other, flip the page 3.
Okay, we're going to go to that at the end of the agenda.
No, I have no legislation, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 22057, Agenda 0223, whereas pursuant to City Charter, Section A204, every department, board, and commission may accept on behalf of the city a gift of an interest in real estate with authority from council to do so.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this resolution authorizes the city to accept the donation of 2 easements upon and over 610 South Market Street from the Riverfront Development Corporation of Delaware. The easements will enable the city's Department of Public Works to perform repair, maintenance, and replacement services for a drainage ditch and 2 reinforced concrete pipes that are essential for stormwater management in the city.
All right, seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
12 yeas and 1 absent.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, that's all I have, and may I be excused?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for a third and final reading.
Ordinance 22038, Agenda 0220, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to clarify the funding of and appropriations from the Budget Reserve Account, the Tax Stabilization Reserve, the Water Sewer Fund Operation and Maintenance Reserve, and the Water Sewer Fund Rate Stabilization Reserve.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea-nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea-nay vote on the question.
This ordinance is it's really a housekeeping matter in regards to this presented by the administration. Essentially, is clarifying appropriation provisions for our budget reserve account, specifically the tax stabilization fund and the water sewer fund. There's no fiscal impact at all, but it's just clarifying some language in terms of how the funds are transferred between accounts.
All right, thank you. And seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hartley is excused. Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
11 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. That's all I have tonight.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Field.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera.
Nothing this evening, sir.
Thank you. Councilmember Mills.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Spadola.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Thank you. Councilmember Oliver presenting on behalf of Councilmember Walsh.
Yes, Mr. President. I have several resolutions that are housekeeping matters. The first one would be Resolution 0224.
Yes. Resolution 22058, Agenda 0224, whereas City Council enacted City Code Section 2-233, establishing procedures for the Chief of the Wilmington Fire Department to call for the commencement of an academy class if the manpower of the fire department falls below 95% of the number of firefighters set forth in the position allocation list attached to the annual operating budget ordinance for the applicable fiscal year.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President. This resolution, as I stated, is housekeeping matter. The city recognizes the chief the fire department has represented that the manpower of the fire department has fallen below the 95%, and the number of firefighters set forth in the position attached is a fiscal year 2023 annual operation budget. Ordinance has drafted a resolution calling for the commencement of an academy class for the fire department.
Thank you. Councilmember Darby.
Yes, and looking at the Wilmington Fire Department, if they're falling below, I'm in support of them starting a new class. However, have concerns in them still addressing some of the issues within the Wilmington Fire Department in regards to recruitment of Wilmingtonians, which should have preference, recruitment of more black and brown firefighters, and retention of them. And they still are not an accredited department. And there are a lot of black firefighters who are experiencing racism today. So I think as we're talking about a class starting, we need to think about how we're improving the standards and experiences of all firefighters and Wilmingtonians to become firefighters in the city of Wilmington. Thank you.
Thank you. And seeing no other hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
11 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next, I have another resolution on behalf of Councilman Walsh, which would be 0225.
Resolution 22059, Agenda 0225, whereas pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, the council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals, including authorizations for expedited grant applications when necessary prior to council's approval by resolution.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea and nay vote. On the question?
Yes, Mr. President, this too is a housekeeping matter. The resolution authorized the Wilmington Police Department grant application to the United States Department of Justice, Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant Program for over $200,000, and a grant funding which would be used to cover salaries for a civilian cold case investigation, in addition to overtime costs as a part of overtime violent crime reduction efforts, and no local match funds are required.
Councilmember Darby.
Yes, thank you. So specifically for this legislation, so for a lot of things with the Wilmington Police Department, I am actually in support of them receiving. However, when we talk about police reform and the things that we have been asking from the police department, I'm going to have to vote no on everything tonight. And a big stance could be made tonight into making sure that we demand police reform and for police violence to end in the city of Wilmington. The police department does not need money for any more overtime costs at all. And the civilian cold case investigators to cover the current salary of the cold case investigator. So I am in support of that, but they don't need any more overtime. And I just think that we're just pumping too much money into our police department. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Oliver.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. As I do respect my colleagues' comments, but a lot of this was discussed because you brought up a lot of this in the committee meeting. I do think overtime is necessary for our police department, especially now with the shortage of officers. As I stated, I'm not going to repeat myself because all this was brought up in the committee meeting, but I just wanted to say I do support all these grants. Our officers are working extremely hard, short-staffed, and it's a lot going on in the city of Wilmington. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too am in support of this, and I understand the challenges that we still face with public safety, and I don't disagree with some of those challenges in our society and right here in Wilmington. However, we can't be here and double talk because either we have the resources to do the investigations, to solve the crimes, and to put the culprits behind bars, because too many lives are being lost. Too many mothers are burying their children, both sons and daughters. And innocent people, even just driving past, are getting hit by stray bullets. This happens in our neighborhoods. It happens, I know, across the nation, but we have to do what we can here in Wilmington. And one of the things that we fought was to try to get additional help with those cold case investigations. Think about those families who would like to at least put that to peace, to rest, that there has been resolution. So I think it is important that we continue to fund this particular effort of the police department, and I commend them for at least having a cold case investigation unit, which we didn't always have. So I am in strong support of this legislation because I would never want to offend the families who still do not have resolution by not supporting this.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
I'm too in support of this resolution. We've reviewed and approved this back in 107 and even in this current council. And the issue is structural, and Councilwoman Darby's right. This money shouldn't, we shouldn't need to have to do this, but unfortunately, this money is earmarked for the state of Delaware specifically for this. So I'm not going to turn down free money because we are hurting in our ranks. I was just at a community meeting yesterday, talking about the quality of life stuff that we're trying to address on the west side, and we can't because the officers are stretched doing shootings all over the rest of the city. So, these are the issues that we have to contend with as a city. We have to continue to step up. Tomorrow is a big day. We have a huge announcement regarding what we're doing in public safety. So, yes, we can, make sure the police department has the funds that they need that are necessary, but also we can invest in police alternatives, which is what we're going to be talking about tomorrow.
Thank you. Councilman Spadola.
Thank you. I support the money for the cold case investigation to help solve the murders of yesterday that have gone unsolved for years, and I support the current overtime to help solve the murders of today, and such as the 19-year-old that was just killed at 9th and Spruce. So I'm happy to support this.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Yes, I just like to say I'm in support of this as well. Like everybody knows, the 5th District is known as one of the hottest spots in the city of Wilmington. So two out of the 3 shootings, the police department, the gentlemen that were on overtime were able to actually get some information and find out what happened and who did what. So, for me, I have to say it's free money. We need to utilize it because we don't always get what we need for the city of Wilmington. So at this point, I have to say yes. And, I just have to say for me, for my district, and I'm always selfish and I'm going to say it like that, the 5th District, we need it. And I appreciate the Wilmington Police Department taking this money. So thank you, Councilwoman Oliver, for bringing this forth for Councilwoman Walsh. Thank you.
Councilmember Darby.
Yes, so I wanted to clarify with the cold case investigator. So I think we actually should put more money into our cold case unit. However, I think that if we're demanding for police reform to happen, that we have to take a stance for everything and say that we need these things to happen. We need alternative things to happen in regards to how we're investing our money into our police department. We don't have a community response team. Our civilian review board isn't up and running yet. They still haven't done the external audit to look at how Black police officers are being discriminated within the department and unit, and then people are facing violence by the police department outside externally, right? So those conversations aren't being had now. So I think it's important that we pump money to our cold case investigation unit, but this is a reoccurring grant for a position that exists already, and our clearance rate is not that great in the city of Wilmington. So we actually need more investment into it, but we have to take a stance, and it's time that we do that when we're talking about police reform. And if we keep allowing the police department to get what they want every single time they ask for a grant, they're never going to listen to us. So that no vote or confidence we had in the chief of police really means nothing if we're going to continue to allow the police department to do what they're doing and not take a stance and then say, once you complete these alternative things, then we can give you things that we think are necessary for your department. But we're not taking a stance. That no to vote of confidence really meant nothing because we're not demanding the things that we've been asking for from them.
All right, thank you. And before we go to our sponsor, do any other council members have any comments? Councilmember Mills.
Yes, Mr. President. I just want to say I'm definitely in support of the initiative, agreeing with the police officer, everything that came out of the committee, hearing from Chief Tracy. I think it's definitely needed. Like I said, to help solve some of these old cases, brings closure to the families at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I see on the surface it is free money, but there are some serious concerns within the rank and file of our Wilmington Police Department that I would encourage all of my colleagues to have a conversation with a lot of the rank and file officers, specifically regarding overtime. And I think I mentioned it during our committee meeting. Just the fairness of it, the consistency of it. There's a lot to be desired from the conversations that I've had. And I do agree with Councilmember Darby. Yes, I think we do need to take a stand, because if we don't, there has been no movement from, as far as I know, of any of our requests or demands since this session has started from our police department. So I'm not going to support it, but of course I do support the police department. But I do think that I think in that support, we have to take a stand on behalf of the officers who can't always do so because of fear for retaliation. Councilmember Gray.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think in the last public safety meeting, we did discuss that in the next meeting, we're going to discuss the problems in the police department. And to the public, we're encouraging policemen or former Wilmington policemen to come to the meeting or contact someone on the Public Safety Committee so that your voice can be heard.
Thank you. And we'll return to our sponsor for final comment.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. As I stated, I respect all of my colleagues' notes or comments, but as I stated, and as everyone knows that is a council member, that's what the committee meetings are here for. We discussed it, Mr. President, you brought up these same issues, some of them at the committee meeting, but as I stated, no one's in favor of supporting the police like I am. Most of the same thing as Councilman Fields, we talk on a regular, McCoy, we talk on a regular. We have high crime. I just had 2 shootings in my district last night, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but this is, I think we're talking about 3 different topics right here. So I'm going to stay on my ordinance, and I am in favor of the police getting any overtime or anything else I could do to support the Wilmington PD. Some of the other topics, it's a time and place for that, but right now, I'd just like to get through some of these resolutions, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
No.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
President Congo?
No.
9 yeas and 2 nays and 2 absent.
Declared adopted.
Yes, Mr. President, I have ordinance, I think we're on 0226, is that correct, Maribel?
Yes, resolution.
Resolution 0226.
Resolution 22060, Agenda 0226, whereas pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, the council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals, including authorization for expedited grant applications when necessary prior to council's approval by resolution. And whereas.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote. On the question.
Yes, this resolution authorizes the Wilmington Police Department grant, State of Delaware Homeland Security Fund to combat violent crimes, grant over 400 and something thousand, that would cover overtime costs and violence reduction efforts, and no matching funds are required.
Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
No.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
President Congo?
No.
9 yeas, 2 nays, and 2 absent.
Declared adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next, I have another ordinance on behalf of Councilwoman Walsh, which is 0227.
Resolution 22061, Agenda 0227, whereas pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, the council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals, including authorization for expedited grant applications when necessary prior to council's approval by resolution. And whereas,
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been probably moved and seconded that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this resolution authorizes the Wilmington Police Department grant application for the state of Delaware Department of Safety and Homeland Security funding from the state aid to local law enforcement salary grant program, an amount of $3,300,000 to propose for grant funding would be used to cover the cost of advanced specialized training for police officers. No local matching funds are required.
Councilmember Darby.
Yes, so I have a question, and I say this, and this is really sad that council people say this. So the public can't make it to every single meeting. And I think it's important at every public meeting that the community kind of has a good understanding of what we're talking about and what we're doing. So to keep saying, oh, we do those things in committee meetings, questions can be asked. That's a fake rule that has been made up to control what people are saying at council meetings. So in regards to this piece of legislation, can you explain to the community what advanced and specialized training would this be covering?
Sure.
Yes, Councilwoman Oliver.
I could say some of that was also spoke about in the committee meeting, and that's, I don't think it's fake. It's a committee meeting. That's where it's open to the public, either on Zoom or in public, and I don't think we have to be rude just because we disagree with certain things. In the committee meeting, some of the specialized training that the chief did offer, that he did state, was various training for, I don't have my thing right in front of me, but one of the trainings was for special training for if it's an emergency, for if it's a riot, if it was a riot. It was several other ones, as I stated. I don't have it. Yeah. Yeah, de-escalation.
Water rescue.
Water rescues. Thank you. I didn't bring my booklet with me. But he did go over all that and train. But if you want to go back and look at the committee meeting, it is available for you.
Councilmember Gray.
I have to agree with Councilwoman Darby. Most people don't watch the committee meetings, and I think for clarification, we should be able to repeat the things that are a committee meeting if understanding is necessary. And I will say from the committee meeting, the things that Councilwoman Oliver just stated were the things that the chief had said the training could be done. Any type of accelerated, dangerous situation. But I also asked, could they use it for any other type of training? And the chief said that if the officers were interested, they could apply for administrative training also, which could help them move up the ladder. Now, that onus is on each officer, but he claimed, the chief, Tracy, did claim this money could be used for that if officers asked for it.
Thank you, Councilmember Gray.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the police department or the administration, just to give further clarity? And if not, I would request that when there are resolutions, that someone from one of those departments, from the relevant department, be present, just in case there are any questions that need to be answered.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And seeing no other hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes?
Councilwoman Darby,
No.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
President Congo.
No.
9 yeas, 2 nays, and 2 absent.
Declared adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have another resolution on behalf of Councilman Walsh, which would be number
0228.
0228.
Resolution 22062, Agenda 0228. Whereas pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, the council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals, including authorization for expedited grant applications when necessary, prior to council's approval by resolution. And whereas the city, through the Wilmington Police Department, has submitted a grant application to
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea and nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this resolution authorizes the Wilmington Police Department grant application for the state of Delaware Special Law Enforcement Assistance Program in amount of over $9,700,000. The proposed grants would be used to purchase marine unit equipment, replacement of equipment trailer, replacement to unarmed aero vehicles, purchase related accessories and communication headsets, and purchase electrical hearing protection equipment. No local matching funds are required.
Councilmember Darby.
Yes, and again, the public can't make it to committee meetings. People don't show up for those, so it's important that people understand what we're voting on, and questions are okay. Just to clarify for people, the two unmanned aerial vehicles, those are drones. Just so that people are clear what those are. And then marine unit equipment. So the marine unit equipment, that is a branch of the military. So we are purchasing military equipment, but it doesn't list here what military equipment does Wilmington PD need?
Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you. Just to clarify, it's referring to the Marine Unit
Right.
section of the Wilmington Police Department, meaning dealing with water, not United States Marines.
Thank you.
Councilmember Mills.
Yes, Mr. President, and this is what the chief spoke about in reference to the being able to do the water rescues, and that Councilman Gray asked as well, and Oliver as well, in reference to we could have used this during the storm. It could have been helpful, definitely over there off Governor Prince when the flooding came. So those are the type marine things they're speaking about, not the U.S. Marines. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Gray.
Yes, let me clarify a little bit. He was talking about large inflatables, and the aid in flooding would be able to go to the area and help people be safe until they could get larger boats to actually rescue them. But we also have a river, and they do have suicides and different things that the police department needs to use this water for. And I will just say, for this and for the next resolution, coming from a law enforcement background, sometimes you only feel as secure as your equipment. So, I mean, the next one is for body equipment, but I'm just saying, when you're out there, if your equipment you don't think is up to the equipment of the people you're up against, criminals or a storm or whatever, then you don't feel as secure and you can't do your job as well. So I am in support of these two.
Thank you, Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you, and I have to agree and thank you, Councilman Gray, for elaborating, because when you look at the people that we're, I guess, the criminals, the people that are out here committing these crimes, you know, they have military weapons. They have weapons that police department are not allowed to have, nor is the average person, and they're getting their hands on these weapons. So in many occasions, the police are already under fire with equipment that they probably can't even go against. We're not even at full capacity. They don't have all the resources they need. We're asking people to put their lives on the line to go out to keep our lives safe. And I know that we may have our issues, and we know that public safety reform is important, and we have to do that not just in Wilmington, but across our country. But when I look at the men and women of our police department, many of them who I know, friends, and some who are strangers, but they're here to protect and to serve. Do we not have their back? Would we not give them what they need to be protected? Don't they have families and children? Shouldn't they go home? Shouldn't they go home alive and be there to see their children grow? I mean, listen, we can make a stance and we can come together and agree on how we go about doing that. But we're not going to deny our police department, who puts their lives on the line, the necessary equipment they need. I mean, there's times for their uniforms, even the cleaning of their uniforms that were like no votes, really? I mean, is that the kind of council and leaders that we are? Thank you.
Yes, thank
Councilmember
you.
Fields.
Thank you, Council President. Again, I'm gonna say it again, the fifth district. You're gonna get tired of it, but I don't care. The fifth district, I'm gonna talk about the unmanned aerial vehicles, right? So without those being utilized within my district, there were two standoffs. The gentleman had, what was it, the guns that the police don't even have.
AKs?
Yeah, and if they didn't have that, they wouldn't have known how to actually address this gentleman to come out of the house. And this was on, this was between Fourth and Fifth and Jefferson. Then you got somebody over there on 8th Street with the same issues. So I guess my thing is, we have to, you gotta either put up or shut up. You know what I mean? Like, we want them to do something, then we don't want them to do something. We have to provide for our police officers the equipment and everything that they need in order to be effective. Now, when they're not effective and they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then yes, I see us saying to them, no, you won't get this because you're not doing this. But for me, in my district, they have been available, they have been present, and they have been doing what they should have done. And again, like I said, they got 2 cases with doing what they're supposed to do on overtime. So again, I'm going to support this one and the next one, since we weren't supposed to talk about them out of order. But 228 and 229. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilmember Darby.
Yes, thank you for explaining to the public, because everyone doesn't attend committee meetings, all public people don't. And one thing about this legislation, which I would be in support of if we had a police department that was responsive to city council and to the public. However, I'm going to vote no until our police department is willing to do what they need to do to answer the call to the audit that we're looking for and for police reform to happen.
Seeing no other hands raised,
No.
go back to the sponsor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too would like to set example, explain example on Market Street when a gentleman, when we had the vehicles to block off Market Street when a guy was at Kingsway, when it was a big incident up there where I think the guy committed suicide or whatever occurred up there.
Was
But,
in district?
yeah, it was in the 3rd district. But nevertheless, as Councilwoman Maria Cabero said, we do have some issues in certain departments throughout the city of Wilmington, but I'm not going to sit up here and deny our officers who are trying to do the best they can do with some of the free money, and it's not affecting our budget, city council's budget at all. So if they have someone to go find, $1 million or $500,000, and it's not affecting the city of Wilmington's budget, it's not messing with the taxpayers' money, why would I vote no? And we're also talking about the safety of our youth out here. This is what the landscape is about. We're talking about trying to cure the violence in the city of Wilmington, and we sitting up here, it's certain things we can talk about amongst ourselves in a room. We all know what maybe some issues are, but to sit up here and just deny these officers money who've been working out there overtime and short, and it's no officers as it is throughout the nation, and to deny them money, and this conversation has nothing to do with the other conversation that I'm in support of the other conversation, but this right here has nothing to do with that. So with that being said, Mr. President, if you can call for a roll,
Clerk,
please.
please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
No.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
10 yeas, 1 nay, and 2 absent.
Declared adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last resolution on behalf of Councilman Walsh would be 0229.
Resolution 22063, Agenda 0229. Whereas pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, the council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals, including authorization for expedited grant applications.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, adopted by yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote. On the question,
Thank you, Mr. President. This resolution authorized the Wilmington PD grant application to the state of Delaware Special Law Enforcement Assistant Program in amount over $200,000. The proposed grant fund that would be used to replace tactical vests for members of the Crisis Management Tactical Team, Forensic Workstation, and laptops. And this
Councilmember.
also has no local matching funds. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to make a comment on all of the things that I've actually just voted for. And even though I do understand what, Councilwoman Darby is actually stating, I call the police regularly. Well, as we are now trying to figure out this landscape analysis, this was 8, but now $7 million. When it comes to crime prevention, if we don't act if we're not acting with any urgency, we still got to make certain that we are protecting the people who are out there and that we are calling on a regular. So if we aren't acting as if this thing is as important, because this money's been here for a while and we still haven't gotten this thing figured out, we have to try to protect our neighbors, our constituents, and everyone else in the city. And that is the reason why I'm voting the way I'm voting, because I have to call the police and I have to ensure that the people who would like to collect on a corner or wherever it is that they do, that no violence pops off. And when I call, they go. And I want to make certain that when they get there, they're protected.
Councilmember Johnson.
I just wanted to voice my sentiments again. I think I certainly agree. I think even your comments, Council President, that there's many problems, but the problem is structural regarding policing. I mean, we have police departments that are fully funded, prisons that are fully funded, but yet education isn't. And so until the top state leaders get it and they start investing in these things, we're less on city council scrambling, trying to clean it up. And, I am tired of it. I know some of us are, but the structural problems and lack of investment in our community is why we are where we are. If these kids are in school, they have resources, we wouldn't be where we are. But for now, we have our brave men and women who are left to combat this. So, the question is not here. The question is in Dover. The question is with our state leadership. When are you going to invest in our education? Tomorrow we're going to talk about this a lot, but, things have to change because, we have an urgent cry in the community. But meanwhile, we got to do what we can to try to stem the bleeding.
Thank you, Councilmember Fields.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I just want to thank my colleague for saying what she said, because I can just text my both of my sector captains and tell them this is happening, that's happening, and I get a direct response from them. So, it's not about me. It's about the people that put me in office that I have to protect, and I have to make sure that they're okay. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
Councilmember Cabrera.
And real quickly, I just want to add that a day like yesterday, I'm in the process of packing and moving. I have one of my dear friends calls me and says, I was in a car accident on Broome and Lancaster, and we called the police and they're not here yet. Is there anything you could do? Can we get somebody here? We've been waiting for over half an hour. I sent a text message to the sector captain, Wilfredo Campos. He says, I'm sorry I didn't respond right away. I'm feeding my grandbaby. But I went ahead and called, and they were doing roll change and roll call, and they're sending somebody out, trying to avoid the overtime because of the budget. They didn't send somebody on duty because they were doing the change of shift, but we're sending the next group. So when we don't fund and resource our police department, even something like that overtime, somebody had to be inconvenienced and wait almost an hour before a vehicle, a police car, would go out there, and it was serious enough that they had to wait for the police. And those are the kind of things that we got to keep it moving regardless of our stances and the things that need to change with public safety. They still need those resources. And I'm just piggyback on what you said, because just yesterday I had to call and immediately, and then he called to make sure to let me know that it was done and it was handled and taken care of. Thank you.
Councilmember Darby.
Yeah, so the conversation isn't about the need of police. No one argues about the need of police, right? It's about how we're funding our police. They're overfunded already. They are well funded already in our budget. We actually have too many police officers per capita compared to other police departments in the state of Delaware and we do not need to be over militarized. And they're not. Most of our police departments not even trained to handle most of the calls. Well, we need to start thinking of alternatives when we're thinking of policing, which actually helps police officers, right? When we talk about community response teams, when we talk about civilian review boards, so when people start getting into this weird conversations about, you know, their need of police, we're not talking about the need of police. We're talking about how they are overfunded, over-militarized, and over-policing does not mean that it's going to stop crime. It actually, over-policing increases crimes in neighborhoods. Police do not prevent crime, they respond to crime. And we need to be very careful in the words that we're using when we're talking about policing, because those things aren't true, that they're there to prevent crime. They're there actually to respond to crime. That is not their job, and they're not trained to do that. And that's the problem, where we have over-policing, and they're over-militarized, and they're not even trained to answer half of the calls that they're getting. And that's very important, and it will help police officers when we start thinking of alternatives and we demand it and stop asking it and put out resolutions to put out no vote of confidence, and then nothing happens.
All right, thank you. Again, I would encourage my colleagues just to have a conversation with an officer who you trust and that they trust you, just to talk about the atmosphere and the structure of our police department. And I think that's what this conversation is really about. I don't think any of us would ever want to specifically deny any officers what they need to do their duty, but there is our police department is in dire need of reconstruction. And I just would encourage you to have a conversation, and they can't come forward and talk about it. So I think it's our responsibility as leaders to talk about it. They can't, because they fear for their livelihoods, they fear for their jobs, and they fear for retaliation. So the stances that I take, the stances that Councilmember Darby takes, and others of you may take, I'm speaking on, I speak for myself, I'm speaking on behalf of officers who I know that they cannot protect themselves, and nothing will ever change until we take some type of stance and try to address the structure of our police department. And again, I just encourage you to, I'm not making this information up. I have nothing against any officers. So just have a conversation. Have a conversation with them and let me know through your votes and through your conversations on council floor how you would respond. Because I can't hear these conversations. I personally cannot hear the conversations that I hear from officers and go about business as usual. My conscience won't let me. And that's the only reason I'm taking this stand, because it is an atrocity it's an atrocity to what some of our police departments, our police officers have to experience on a daily basis. And specifically minorities, black and brown, women, but I have heard from every background of police officer that we have about how they cannot address some of the issues because they fear for retaliation. And they ask me to, so I think it's my responsibility to do that. And we have done that as a council since the beginning of our session, and again, it has gone unheard. So I don't know another way to bring to light some of these concerns that are brought to me. I am going to support this one, don't get me wrong, because I don't want to deny any of our police officers the protection that they need to protect themselves. But overall, we really have to take a look at how we are handling this situation with our police department. Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you. I just have one more thing to add. I just want to state to my colleagues and to administration that if we want to get something done, we have got to start acting with a sense of urgency. This is the thing that I feel is the problem here within the city. These steps that we are taking are not moving quick enough. I do understand that we want to measure twice and cut once, but with the amount of violence that has actually happened, we've heard the reports or the stats that things have dropped, and then we have these all of a sudden now it's like all over. Every time you turn around, it's boom, 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 consistently. Yeah, we had like a lull, and now it seems as though we're catching back up. If we don't begin to start acting with a sense of urgency, we do one thing and then it's months before we actually do the next thing. We have got to start working on these things step by step and getting more organized to get these things done. Because for now, like I said, if I have to make the phone call, I'm going to make it, and I'm going to make certain the person who gets out to that corner is protected. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Thank you. And final word from Councilwoman Oliver. sponsor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. As I stated before, I respect all my colleagues' opinions, but when I hear that the officers are being paid too much, what is the cost for an officer's life? You mean to tell me, a couple of 100,000, what they make, 80, whatever it is? What is the cost for an officer's life? And we're talking about they get paid too much, and these are the people that protect us. I mean, I totally disagree with that, and I totally disagree with using the weird and all that. As I stated, if you have a difference of opinion, I'm okay with it because that's what it's about. It's a democracy. As I stated before, we don't have to be rude about things. We're all adults here. But I have Captain Akil. I have Captain, Lieutenant Count. It's numerous of them. I mean, Bowers. I call them. They're there. So this, as I said, we're talking about ABC here today, and I'm talking about ordinance 0229, 0228, etc. Some of this other stuff, maybe we have a conversation. Let's go to the mayor's office. There's other ways we could do this in a mature manner, opposed to, just on the floor, blurting out stuff, and some of it is true. I've talked to some officers too, but is this the time tonight when we're on the floor trying to conduct business? I mean, we could have another meeting, but that being said, to me, when you talk about the officers are getting paid too much, I totally disagree. You're talking about people who are putting their life on the line, and with that, I would like to call for a vote.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Gray,
Yes?
Councilwoman Darby,
No.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
10 yeas, 1 nay, and 2 absent.
Declared adopted. This time, we will go to petitions and communications. Councilwoman Gray.
Council President.
Yes.
Councilmember Spadola.
Excuse me, may I be excused, please?
Yes, you may be excused. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I
Councilmember Gray.
have 2 announcements. First, at the Wilmington First Walk-In, which is a minority-owned walk-in, medical walk-in, they're having a community health fair this Saturday, September 17th, from 12 to 4 p.m. And I'm encouraging everyone to go because they're giving free screening for cholesterol, blood pressure, diabetes, discussions on preventative care. There'll be free games, door prizes, moon bounce. So it sounds like it's going to be a good time, plus you can get some of the medical things taken care of. And that's this Saturday from 12 to 4. Also, on Thursday, September 29th, Delaware Department of Corrections and Probation Pro at Route 9 Library from 3 to 6 are holding a resource event. They're going to have food bank distribution, naltrexone training, that's the drug you use to when someone's ODing, expungement process, fire prevention info, clothing distribution, reentry resources, giveaways, and they have a lot of addiction assistance. So it looks like it's going to cover a lot of areas, and that's Thursday, September 29th from 3 to 6 at the Route 9 Library. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Darby.
Yes, thank you. This week there was a meeting with Collaborate Northeast. There is a new Market Street Northeast branding that is happening, so hopefully soon you'll see some of that marketing material. For me, North Market Street hits my district, so I care about the Northeast, but the North Market Street is what's big to me. You'll start seeing some branding there on this new Market Street that's coming, so I'm really excited for that. That's coming. And then with our fees and fine program, the city of Wilmington, out of about 7 to 8 cities and counties throughout the nation, we were selected to be a part of a program, this national program, and we were given a grant of $50,000. So we're definitely looking for people throughout the city who are interested in being a part of our fees and fines reform team, where we're going to look at the fees and fines throughout the city of Wilmington and the process and what they look like. So we are looking. So if you're interested, reach out to the office and we can get you established with that team. The national team will be visiting the city of Wilmington on September 30th to talk to some key community people and people within the government on talking about fee and fine reform for the city of Wilmington. And also the Landlord Engagement Lab program. It is up and rolling. We're talking about different initiatives to improve housing and work with our landlords. We had Newark come and do a presentation with the team. And with that presentation, we were able to look at Newark, they GPS or have a map of all of their rental units, and they have an online registry program. So I'm looking to establish that for the city of Wilmington, where we're having a better way of tracking our rental units, a better way of seeing where they are, and for landlords to be able to register their properties online, and have just a better process and tracker of rental units in the city of Wilmington. And then what's been really cool is learning about what other cities are doing across the country around landlord incentive programs in regards to education. I thought about Councilwoman Cabrera. I remember she talked about a landlord education program. So trying to implement some things like that, trainings, I don't know, all sorts of things they had. So it's really cool and a great learning experience to see what other cities and states are doing around landlord engagement, instead of just saying everyone's bad and they're slumlords and let's give them fees and fines. Let's actually work with them. So yeah, I'm just excited about those few programs. If you're interested in any of those, reach out to the office and I can get you engaged with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, first, I think I did reach out to, I left a message for L&I to be a part of the fees and fines program. Next, I would like to thank Heron Manor and Kingsway Senior Center. We had a nice bingo night. They have organized and have a little civic association organization in the building, and I really enjoyed myself with the seniors last week. Also, I would like to make an announcement for September the 29th. Stormers Classic is having their 100 Hall of Famers down to the Chase Center. You can go on the website, purchase a ticket. I think they're $10, but it should be exciting to see a lot of guys who played in one of the largest leagues in the state of Delaware, and that's going to be September the 9th. I'm pretty sure it's at 5 or 6 o'clock. Also, I'd like to thank the Eastside Civic Association for having a nice meeting last night with Lieutenant, I call him Lieutenant Count. I don't know if it's Captain, Lieutenant, Captain, I keep calling him Lieutenant. But he was there last night, and he shared a lot of information about calling the non-emergency number, and you don't have to leave your name. And also, he talked about the 311 line for the city of Wilmington. You don't have to leave your name. Most of the comments were really about loitering and nuisance properties. And I just like to thank all my colleagues for just back in session.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Yes, Council President, thank you. I just want to thank the Wilmington Police Department. I want to thank Department of Justice as well. They had the, they used to call it the Police Night Out, but now they're calling it the Resource Night Out with different resources from different agencies. They came over there to they came into West Center City at the Helen Chambers Park, and they were there from 4 to 6. And I have to say, my community actually came out and they participated. And usually they have pizza left over, but nobody had pizza left over this time. So, I just want to say thank you to my community. Thank you for the agencies. Thank you to the police department, the Department of Justice, for coming out and hosting that. So I want to say thank you for that. And I have 2 quotes. The first one is, wait a minute, hold on. Okay. So, this one. Winning is not everything, but making the effort to win was. If you can't accept losing, you can't win. Vince Lombardi. And the next one. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And that's just for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I actually just wanted to invite everyone to come out to, I will be the last sector that has the Community Resource Fair. It is going to be at Kosciuszko's Park on September 22nd from 4 to 6 p.m. I am excited because I was actually planning to have this fair, and then I found out probably a week later they were doing this. I'm like, yes, I get to save my money. So I'm very pleased that they're actually coming out because I've kind of been like getting on their nerves a bit about it for a while, and I was glad to see that this is going to happen. So please come out. I'll probably be putting some flyers out also just to make certain, because there's a lot of information that people need to receive, and it is just more than just like clinical, which would be maybe like Christiana care or judicial or law enforcement rather. It'll be more than that. We want to make certain that there's actually stuff for the community to really get into and to get information. So I look forward to seeing everyone there. On a sad note, today was a funeral for one of the leaders within my district, John Kwiatkowski of Browntown. He passed away last Friday, and his funeral was held today at St. Hedwig's. And I just want to send my condolences to him and his family. I know it's going to be on the agenda next week, but you know, today was the day, and he really meant a lot to the community. He was a lifelong Browntown resident, and I just wanted to let the family know I'm thinking about him.
Thank you, Councilman Johnson.
Just briefly, we, as you've heard during the meeting, we do have the landscape analysis report. Public release tomorrow. We're going to be rolling that out. Folks have heard about it for such a long time, and it's been almost a year in working on this process, and we're finally now to the hard part, which is actually implementing, which is even going to be more work. But the good news is that the community will be involved in problem solving and working with us as city leadership to figure out how we can make each community safer for that community. So we're excited. Again, it's been a lot of work, but you know, we have the energy now, and we look forward to seeing you at 5 p.m. You can come to committee chambers, but you can also attend via Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Field.
Yes, I just want to make note that this Saturday from 12 to 3, open streets will take place in the Highlands neighborhood along Delaware Avenue, and the street will be completely closed with activities as part of this effort to encourage people to get out and walk and enjoy the streets without cars. And that is, again, this Saturday from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock along Delaware Avenue in the Highlands neighborhood.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cabrera.
Yes, Mr. President. First, I want to congratulate the multiple organizations who have been kicking off Hispanic Month. First, with the Latin American Community Center, they combined their food fests, and instead of having a ball this year, they had a fundraiser to raise money for a playground as they're building the Early Education Center. It was wonderful to be there with the council president and Councilman Spadola. And at some point, we had to do a little schooling with a little bit of dancing. Good thing that our president is quite fluent in the dance of my culture as well as the language, although he tries to play that off. And, you know, State Representative Dorsey thought she was going to throw some moves down. I said, oh, no, this isn't happening. We had to get it together, and even Spadola jumped in and did a few turns, and, you know, we did put on a nice show. So that was a lot of fun. And thanks to all who made it out to the parade this Saturday and to the festival. Oh my, with all the beautiful weather we've had, it had to rain on our parade, literally. But guess what? The diehards were there. We were present. I was happy to be invited to walk with the Moms Demand Action and bring attention to the action that we need when it comes to firearms and gun control. So it was fun. I did go down to the festival, and it was really sad at first with the rain and the wind, and then it got heavy and light, but then the skies didn't really clear, but the rain did stop and the festival went on, and it turned out to be a wonderful event. So to all the organizers, Nuestras Raíces and La Máxima 104.1, Kevin Andrade and his team, we thank him for his sponsorship and really investing in our city and with our events, and hope that people do listen to the radio station. It's pretty, really good. They have a lot of different music. Also, again, just want to remind people to come tomorrow here, right at the City County Building in between the City and the State Building. Actually, we're closing Front Street, so it's going to be a block party as they raise the Mexican flag, and we bring tribute to that culture, which is one of the many that we celebrate during Hispanic Month. And I encourage people to go out and enjoy, get to know the food, the culture, and most importantly, the people. These are your neighbors. We're here, we're among you, and there's so much that we all contribute. And last but not least, just want to remind folks that this Saturday from 9 to 11 a.m., it's the AIDS Walk, and City Council will have a team, and we will be walking at the Brandywine Park. So we encourage you to come, join. You can register on the spot. And I hope we have a wonderful weather with no rain as we're walking together as colleagues. And that's it, Mr. President.
Thank you. And as usual, Councilwoman Fields forgot to mention something, so I'm going to give her some more time.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to mention that Green for the Greater Good up there at Rodney Reservoir will be having I want to say like a cookout or a meet and greet up there on Saturday, starting at 4. I want to say from 4 to 6. So if anyone is up there in that area, it's where Chris and my District 7 and District 5 meet together, so we both share constituents. But I just would like to invite everyone up there to Rodney Reservoir from 4 until I think about 6 o'clock. It's just like a meet and greet and to see what kind of gardens they have and what they're growing up there. And I encourage everyone to come visit. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilwoman Cabrera.
Yes, I'm sorry. I don't usually forget, but I did want to comment on Councilwoman Darby's remarks. So we are looking to have both those entities at the next Community Development and Urban Planning meeting, which is the second Thursday of the month. So that would be the second Thursday in October. Hopefully they confirm. And Bill Matt, who was a very near and dear friend of mine, I met him through the landlord training sessions that the Attorney General's office under Beau Biden was doing at that time, and with Dan Logan. And we worked together on coming up with an ordinances for disorderly premises, as well as making sure that, when you become a landlord, you get the training, that you know how to be a good landlord. And as she said, not all landlords are slumlords. We just have to work and provide the resources to the ones that we do have, and also bring the other ones up to par. So I just wanted to comment on that, and I'm looking forward to working together on that initiative.
All right. Thank you. Just have a few announcements. On the first one, tomorrow, the Delaware State University will have their Hall of Fame banquet. One of my good friends, Phil Anderson, is being inducted. So just want to encourage everyone who was at Del State in the late 80s, early 90s to join us down in Dover tomorrow. I believe the ceremony starts at 5:30. Also want to congratulate the Black Chamber of Commerce. They're having their gala also tomorrow, but unfortunately it is sold out, but it's going to be at the DuPont Country Club. Just want to encourage everyone just to join that organization. It's a really great organization. Just want to thank the whole team down there for what they have brought to our city and to our state. Also want to, Councilwoman Cabrera did touch on our One Council event that's going to be on Saturday. Encouraging all of my colleagues to be there around 9:30 to get our T-shirts, and the walk will begin at 10 a.m. Also want to thank Ashley Christopher and everything that she has done and will do this upcoming week. As for HBCU week, there are several events that are going to be happening, so I'm going to read those off. On Wednesday, the 21st, there will be the kickoff. There's going to be a happy hour at Deco from 4 to 8. There will also be a concert at the Queen. Doors open at 7, featuring Fabulous and Maya. On Thursday, there's going to be a middle school college tour at Delaware State University. There's also going to be a panel discussion at the Queen from 6:30 to 8:30. On Friday, the 23rd, there's going to be a comedy show also at the Queen, featuring Michael Blackston. Doors will open at 7. On Saturday, there's going to be a block party outside of Deco from 12 to 5. And on Sunday, there will be the Battle of the Bands at Frawley Stadium featuring Howard, DSU, and Virginia State. Again, I just want to thank Dr. Tony Allen and his team for everything that they are doing at Delaware State. We were recently ranked number 2 by U.S. News as the second best historically black college or university in the country. And I'm not sure if Councilwoman Brigida wants to comment on that or not, but I'm sure she doesn't because her school was not included. But
That's right. Behold. That's all I'm going to say. Behold, the green and gold.
again, just want to thank Ashley Christopher. She has done an amazing job just supporting high school seniors, and now she's even taking it down to the middle school level. Just encouraging them to not only go to college, but to consider HBCUs. And I think that's everything. Thank you, everyone who joined us. Councilman Mills, you have some comments?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes.
I just wanted to offer my condolences to the family of Shirley B. Pritchett over on East Lawn, lifelong resident, block leader over there, passed away. I believe her service is going to be over at your facilities next week. But to say to the family, offer the condolences. Great woman, great leader.
Yes.
Did a lot in the community, and we're going to miss her. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Our services will be on Tuesday at Sharon Temple. The viewing is from 9 to 11. Service starts at 11. Sharon Temple is right on 20th and Washington Streets. Definitely a great lady. Thank you, everyone who joined us in council chambers and everyone who joined us virtually. Thank you to our staff, and also thank you to WITN. With that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Are you all in a hurry to leave here or what? What's going on?
Councilman Fields seems like she's kind of irritated. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone.